Hi everyone, and welcome to Southbridge Community Television. Max Gullickson here, and today in the sweltering heat of August we're up on Alpine Drive with Nick Dellisola. Hi Nick.
Hello Max.
Good to see you.
You as well.
Nick has a very interesting hobby up here on Alpine Drive. He keeps bees. He's a beekeeper. Now Nick, how long have you been doing that?
This is actually my first year. I was very interested in it last year, but as you know, with Southbridge, we do have a little bit of a growing bear population, so I wanted to make sure I did all my homework before getting into this.
So before you jumped into the bees, you decided to check out the bears to make sure you were going to be safe. Nick, how long, before we get started with the bees, how long have you lived in Southbridge?
Going on 2 years.
So you just got here, you found this house, you fell in love, and I mean, you're kind of out in the woods here on Alpine Drive, aren't you?
Yes, we are, yeah.
You and your wife up here and your dogs?
Yep. 2 dogs and 3 cats, yeah.
How's your wife feel about the bees?
She likes them. She really enjoys honey, so she's getting more accustomed to coming out and actually doing some inspections. She was a little standoffish at first, but I think it just takes some time.
So bees, everybody likes honey. Bees are a good thing. What exactly interested you in doing bees to begin with?
Well, really, it's my love for honey. That was really what drove it to me. But then after just doing, some YouTubing and getting into gardening and it just kind of going right with it and, with making maple syrup and the two going hand in hand, it really drove the passion for it. And
so you make maple syrup well as bees. You're also making maple syrup here on Alpine Drive in Southbridge.
Yes, we are. We have about 33 maple trees. Last year I tapped about 28 of them.
Wow.
I think we bottled up and sold small little 50 milliliter bottles, but I think we sold about 150 bottles this year.
Where do you sell them at?
Primarily right at the end of the driveway. We have a small cart that we do. I have a lot of friends and family that enjoy getting some local syrup, along with some of the neighbors doing some trading for their produce. But a lot of just people reach out to me. And Facebook Marketplace, it's been great for us.
Oh, I might be up here. I have a sweet tooth. My friends on Facebook, they know I have a sweet tooth. I might have to come back up here and buy some of your maple syrup.
Please do.
Now, with the honey, I've heard that that bees will they will absorb, or the local pollen will become part of the honey. And
absolutely.
So it can help with is it antibiotic product? Allergies?
So allergies are a huge part. They do say that local honey is going to have a lot of your local plants that are putting out the pollen. Mm-hmm. The bees are going to gather that pollen and they're going to utilize those resources to make the honey. Mm-hmm. And with that, some of that is put into the honey that you're consuming. Mm-hmm. So it's said that with a dose of honey a day, if you have a pollen allergy specifically, the local honey will actually help reduce that allergy.
Because the bees have been gathering the pollen along with it. Isn't that interesting? So a little tablespoon will help you out.
Yeah, and not only that, it'll give you a nice boost too. And it's a pure form of sugar, so it's it's healthy. It's a natural.
And it's awfully delicious.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Aren't you afraid of the bees a little bit?
No, surprisingly, I think that's the biggest thing is the community needs to be more. The understanding of what a honeybee is, whereas a lot of them confuse them with wasps or hornets, when really honeybees are really docile. Yeah. Their only time that they're going to sting is when they feel really threatened. I mean, you can even go into a hive as long as you take your time and you're patient. Yeah. You can. I've, in all honesty, doing this with a weekly hive inspection. Mm-hmm. I've been stung twice.
Have you ever heard of my fault? Ever heard of white-faced hornets?
I have, yes.
They had them at the high school about 3 weeks ago. They had to shut it down. They're so aggressive, but honeybees are not that way.
No, not at all. In fact, a lot of honeybees with proper care can become very accustomed to their owners, get used to the smells, and you don't have to wear a veil, gloves, or anything. And
like a bee pet.
Very much like a bee pet. Yes, exactly.
How much, is it an expensive hobby?
Well, initially the first investment is getting a quality made hive, and I got to give a shout out to Todd in Oxford at Barker's Bees that he got me started with my 2 hives. Mm-hmm. And then bee packages, and then bees. If you're treating them right, which is difficult, it's not always the beekeeper's fault, but if you can overwinter them and fight off all of the other aspects that are kind of going against our bees, they can be bountiful, and you can even split hives, and it's just the investment in the new hives that you'd be spending the money on. But
I see.
Yeah,
a queen bee starts it.
Yeah, queen bee starts it, and from there, as long as your hive is doing well, you can have more and more hives that you can split it and make into.
They will grow.
Absolutely,
the population will grow.
Absolutely.
And you winter them over, and you can keep them like that.
Bees are actually very self-sufficient. A lot of people ask, well, how do you keep them warm? We don't. The bees do that on their own. Mm-hmm. They'll form a cluster inside that hive, and they'll actually vibrate and crawl over each other and keep that hive at about 90 degrees.
No kidding.
Yeah, and they'll stay in that cluster, and they'll move about their hive, consuming the honey that you leave for them. That's very important. A lot of people have said, well, you think it's unfair that you're taking the honey from them. And no, I'm taking only what's the surplus. I make sure that they have enough to carry them over through the winter season to make sure that they have enough to sustain.
These bees make more than they need.
Oh yes,
otherwise every
significantly
bear
more.
visitor would have wiped them out.
Right, exactly.
And
over
in nature,
time, yeah.
they have to find a way through the winter. In nature,
Sure.
I mean, man isn't there to help them.
Nope, that's
Yeah.
100% right.
You know what?
So, what smoking the bees does, contrary to what a lot of people does, it doesn't cause confusion. What it does is they think that there's a forest fire.
Yeah.
So because they're so efficient, they'll also consume their honey, and when they do that, they become honey drunk. And because they're so full up on honey or other reserves, they don't want to sting, so they become more docile. So you can, if you smoke them a little bit, they just calm right down. They go eat as much as they can because they think they might be necessary for a journey. So this one's the honey super. There's not much in there yet. I'm just gonna take that one right off. There's a frame of bees.
That is really something.
Isn't that cool?
These are great shots we're getting too. This is
Thanks.
going to go real well with the show.
Awesome. So yeah, all this you see here, all this capping,
Yeah.
that's brood. Those are new babies. That's all babies that the queen has laid.
Wow, look at that honeycomb in there though.
Isn't that so cool? They build that all themselves. The most efficient way to store anything is with the shapes that they make.
No kidding.
Yep.
Now, what about the syrup? I mean, that's kind of labor intensive, isn't it?
It is. It's very. So it takes 40 to 60 gallons of raw maple tree sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup.
Wow.
So you're boiling down a pretty significant amount to get a very small amount at the end result. The maple tree will make its own water come February into March. It'll start producing the syrup and it'll start to flow, and then you're just tapping into that excess and drawing as much as possible to boil down.
Same like with the bees, you're not tapping that.
No,
tree to
it does
death.
absolutely no harm to them. Yeah, as long as you're, cautious about where you add your taps and you plug them up at the end of the year to keep it from infection, you're doing nothing bad to that tree.
Nick, you glad you moved to Southbridge?
Oh, very glad. Yes.
Yeah? You're out here on Alpine Drive. It's kind of remote. You've got room for your bees and
Yes,
so
we do. Yeah, we've expanded quite a bit on our hobbies. We also have a little free library on the property that I invite people out to come. It's take a book, leave a book, or just take a book. We have a surplus of books, and a lot of people in the community have donated several amount. We have a bookshelf inside that we stamp as many books as we can, saying for donation purposes only, not for resale. So and we put them out there so that people can take them. We love putting little treats out there too.
Oh, it seems very community oriented.
Oh yeah, we actually right before. I mean, it helps us out too. We actually for Earth Day, we put a bunch of bee-friendly seed packets so that people could take, because my bees will travel up to 5 miles. So if anybody out there planted those seeds, my bees, I'm going to end up profiting from it. So, but also we love seeing that. So we love company there. So we try and get as many people out as possible.
Oh, terrific. It's all very interesting, Nick. And to think it's going on right here in our little town.
Yeah.
Right on the edge here.
Yes, sir.
Nick, thanks for talking to us here.
No, we really appreciate it.
Southbridge Community Television. And if you didn't know, right on here on Alpine Drive, a little bit further down to where it starts to thin out, Nick and his wife and their puppies have a nice little small veggie stand right in front. They're doing honey here, and they're also tapping trees for maple sugar right here in Southbridge. Nick, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you so
I
much
hope
for
you
coming
stay
out.
around. Enterprising young man here in
that.
Southbridge.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for watching. If you have some spare time, running up here in Alpine Drive and buy some produce, and maybe in future years you'll be able to get honey right here in Southbridge.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
again.
Nick.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on Southbridge Community Television. You want to get the action shot, the money shot? This is going to be awesome.